Hi, my friends. I am sitting here in the reading corner of my classroom, and I'm going to read you a book called Chrysanthemum. This is one of my favorite books of a friend who's her name is pretty hard to say, and I think that she feels a little weird about it. Maybe she's feeling sad, maybe she's feeling happy. I want you to think about how she's feeling about her name being Chrysanthemum. As you see next to me right here, I've got a whole bunch of books. These are all of our back to school kindergarten books, and we're going to be reading some of them together. All right, guys, Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hanks. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. "She's perfect," said her mother. "Absolutely," said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. "Her name must be everything that she is," said her mother. "Her name must be absolutely perfect," said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew up and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way that it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. And she loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought that her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. "Hooray," said Chrysanthemum, "school!" But when Miss Chudd took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. So here's her teacher, and they are calling names of the students in her classroom. I see Dawn, Eve, Lois, Al, just to name a few. And then on the very bottom, you see Chrysanthemum, and her name is so big it comes off the page. "It's so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on your name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "You're named after a flower." Chrysanthemum wilted. That means she went like this. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Miss Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. "That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet," Victoria explained. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Miss Chudd. "Now put your head down." "If I had a name like yours, I'd change it," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower." "Oh, fish," said her mother, "your name is beautiful. And it's precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome," said her father. "It's everything that you are," said her mother. "It's absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner. macaroni and cheese with ketchup. And an evening filled with hugs and kisses and paracheese, which looks like, I don't know what that is, but it looks like a game if I'm looking at the picture. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. Remember, that's why I said where she goes. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. So you see her friends are pointing at her, and they were calling her names before. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Miss Chudd. "Now put your head down." "I just cannot believe your name," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said Mother. "Welcome home," said Father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said that I even look like a flower, and they pretended to pick me and smell me." "Oh, foosh," said her mother. "They're just jealous and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced," said the father. "Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours?" said Mother. "After all, it's absolutely perfect," said Father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better and after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and paracheesi. You see that they're hugging and loving on each other. Why do you think they're doing that? I think that they're trying to make Chrysanthemum feel better. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school, and she stopped and stared at each and every flower. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum," the flowers seemed to say. So here's the picture of her nightmare. Did you know that a chrysanthemum is a type of flower? In fact, let's look back at the front page. Here's a really good illustration or a picture of what that looks like. That morning, the students were introduced to Miss Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought that Miss Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Miss Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as a dainty fairy queen, and Rita was chosen as a spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the most important pixie messenger, and Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Oh, I love that. My shirt has daisies on it today. Chrysanthemum's daisy, chrysanthemum's daisy. Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was dreadful. What's so humorous? Said Miss Twinkle. Chrysanthemum, was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria, and she is named after a flower. My name is Long, said Miss Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on the name tag, said Miss Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, Miss Twinkle said, I'm named after a flower, too. You are? Said Victoria. Yes, said Miss Twinkle. My name is Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it sounds absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, and she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. I want you to see the picture of Chrysanthemum here. And I want you to see how instead of feeling dreadful and scared and sad, how do we think Chrysanthemum is feeling now? Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. That means that they were like, I wish that was my name. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. And you might not know that yet, but all of those are names of flowers. Okay. Chrysanthemum did not like to think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it was. Look at that big old smile on Chrysanthemum's face. Watch. Look at that smile. She was so proud. And so that's the end of the book. Here's a little page that tells you what happens after the story is over. It says, overall, the class musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was a perfect daisy. And Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of the flowers. Eventually, Miss Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. One thing I love about that story is sometimes we don't feel proud of who we are. Chrysanthemum learned to be very proud of who she is. She didn't care about what the kids in the class were saying. She learned to be proud of her name, and I want us to be proud of who we are too. So for your assignment today, I'm going to have you work with someone in your family on your assignment. It's in your Google Classroom, and it will say for you to type the names of the people in your family. So maybe what you could do is go around with a notebook and ask your family how to spell their name. Maybe they can write it for you. If you already know your letters, why don't you practice writing your letters and see if you can type them on the computer. I can't wait to see how many people you write on your list and see the names of the people in your family. Have a good day.